Jake Collins wiped dust from the old screen and squinted at the fading text. The archive room was cold and quiet, buried deep beneath the main colony buildings on Proxima. Most people forgot this place existed. That was fine with Jake. He preferred the company of old records to most people anyway. "Access file section E7, he said to the computer. The machine hummed, its ancient fans working harder than they should. A new file appeared on screen. Jake leaned forward, his eyes widening. "Crimson Vengeance," he read aloud. The name sent a small chill down his spine. Everyone knew the stories. The great warship from Earth's final days. Some said it had weapons that could destroy planets. Others claimed its AI was smarter than any human. But most people, especially the scientists and military leaders, said it was just a myth. A story told to children. A legend from the desperate days when humans first came to this star system. Jake scrolled through the file. Most was corrupted. Just fragments remained, but one phrase kept appearing. Blood Moon Hunt. Jake didn't understand what it meant. He made a copy of the files and continued searching. 3 levels above, Lieutenant Olivia Reese stared at her monitor in the colony's defense center. Something was wrong with the deep space sensors. They showed energy readings from the asteroid belt. Faint, but definitely there. "Run the scan again," she told her assistant, Sam, "and check for equipment errors." Sam nodded and tapped at his console. "Sane readings, Lieutenant. No errors detected." Olivia frowned. Nothing should be out there. The colony had no mining operations in that sector. No ships were scheduled for arrival. Yet something was giving off energy. Something big. "Keep monitoring it," she said. "I'll inform the governor if it changes." As Olivia spoke, a message appeared on her screen. A notice from the astronomy department. Proxima would experience a rare alignment in 3 days. The planet, its moon, and the red dwarf star would line up perfectly, creating what colonists called a blood moon, when the entire sky would glow deep red for nearly 6 hours. It happened only once every 80 years. No one currently alive in the colony had seen it before. At the colony's small cafe, Jake sat across from Dr. Susan Miller. At 62, Susan was the colony's most respected historian and Jake's mentor since he began working in the archives. "Blood Moon Hunt," Susan repeated, stirring her coffee. "That phrase sounds familiar." Jake placed his tablet on the table, showing her the fragments he'd found. The files mention the Crimson Vengeance. "I know most people think it's just a story, but these are official records." Susan's face grew serious. "My grandmother used to tell me stories about that ship. She was on one of the first colony ships from Earth. She said the Crimson Vengeance wasn't just a regular warship. It was something special, something secret." "Do you think it was real?" Jake asked. "Most legends have some truth at their core," Susan said. "But finding the truth means cutting through layers of exaggeration and misunderstanding." Jake's tablet beeped with a message. It was from an old classmate who worked in astronomy. The blood moon was coming in 3 days. Jake looked up at Susan, his mind racing. The blood moon hunt. What if it's not just a phrase? What if it's a time, or a signal? As they spoke on the edge of the star system, 3 large ships emerged from faster-than-light travel. Their designs were angular and predatory, nothing like human vessels. Inside them, beings very different from humans prepared weapons and studied the small colony on Proxima. The Vecnar had finally found another world to conquer, another species to subjugate or destroy. They had done it 26 times before. They saw no reason why the human colony would be any different. They gave orders to approach slowly. There was no need to rush. After all, their prey wasn't going anywhere. The colony's alarm system blared at exactly 8:30 in the morning. Governor Chris Howard was in the middle of his breakfast when his emergency communicator buzzed. "Governor, we have unknown ships approaching the colony. 3 large vessels. They're not responding to our hails," said the voice of the colony's security chief. Chris put down his fork and stood up. "I'll be right there." 20 minutes later, Chris stood in the colony's communication center, watching the main screen with a tight feeling in his chest. The three alien ships were unlike anything humans had ever built. They were dark, with sharp edges and strange glowing parts. "They're broadcasting something," said a young woman at the communication station. The screen flickered, and an image appeared. The being on screen wasn't human. It had gray-blue skin, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and no visible nose. When it spoke, its mouth moved in strange ways. "Humans of Proxima Colony," the alien said in surprisingly good English. "I am Commander Zekthar of the Vecnar Dominion. Your world is now under our control. You have 48 hours to surrender all resources, technology, and population to our authority. Resistance will result in your extinction." The screen went black. The room was silent for several seconds. Could this be some kind of joke? Someone asked. Chris shook his head. "Those ships are real. Scan them for weapons." Lieutenant Olivia Reese, who had been called to the center when the aliens appeared, checked her console. "They're heavily armed, sir, much more advanced than our defenses, and the nearest Earth fleet is 4 months away at best." "Options?" Chris asked the room. "We could try to negotiate," suggested his advisor. "Or evacuate as many people as possible to the emergency bunkers in the mountains," said another. Chris nodded. "Prepare both options, and contact Earth immediately." Later that day, Jake Collins was pulled from the archives by a security officer. "The governor wants to see you," she said. "Now." Jake followed her, confused. He had never met the governor. They walked through the colony's main plaza, where colonists gathered in worried groups, talking about the alien ships visible in the sky. Fear hung in the air like a bad smell. In the governor's office, Jake found not only Governor Howard, but also Lieutenant Reese and Dr. Susan Miller. "Mr. Collins," the governor said, "Dr. Miller tells me you found something that might be relevant to our current situation." Jake looked at Susan, who nodded for him to speak. "I found records about a ship called the Crimson Vengeance. Most people think it's just a legend, but the records suggest it was real. A warship that came with the original colonists but was hidden somewhere in our system." Olivia Reese crossed her arms. "Even if this ship existed, it would be over 100 years old. How would that help us?" "Tell them about the Blood Moon," Susan urged Jake. Jake opened his tablet and showed them the files. These records mentioned something called the Blood Moon Hunt. The ship was programmed to activate during this event, and the Blood Moon is happening in 2 days. "That's not much to go on," Chris said with a frown. "There's more," Susan added. "My grandmother worked on the ship's AI systems before the exodus from Earth. She told me stories about it being decades ahead of any other technology. It was designed as humanity's last line of defense." The governor stared out the window at the alien ships hovering above the colony. "We tried to open negotiations. They just repeated their demand. Surrender or die." A new alarm sounded. Everyone looked at their devices. "They're moving their deadline up," Olivia said, her face pale. "We now have only 24 hours. Chris Howard looked at each person in the room. "I never thought I'd say this, but we need to find this legendary ship. It's the only hope we have." Outside, the sky began to take on a slight reddish tint as Proxima B's rare astronomical alignment began. The sky over Proxima turned darker red as the Blood Moon alignment continued. In the colony's main power station, engineers rushed to fix unexplained problems. Lights flickered. Computers restarted on their own. Communication systems picked up strange signals. "It's getting worse," said the head engineer to her team. "Check all the backup systems." In the command center, Governor Chris Howard watched the alien ships on the main screen. They had moved closer to the colony. 18 hours left, Olivia said, checking her watch. Jake Collins and Susan Miller sat at a table covered with old maps and data tablets. They had been searching through the archives for hours. "Look at this," Jake said, pointing to a star chart. There's an unmarked area in the asteroid belt. The regular mining maps skip over it completely. Susan studied it. That's odd. Mining companies are thorough. They wouldn't miss a section unless they were told to avoid it. Jake finished. Olivia walked over. What exactly are we looking for? Anything unusual, Susan said. A hidden dock. A strange energy signature. Something that could hide a warship for 100 years. Olivia's communicator beeped. She listened, then looked at the others with wide eyes. The deep space sensors just detected a power surge from the asteroid belt, from exactly that unmarked area. Jake stood up quickly. It's responding to the blood moon. Governor Howard joined them. Are you certain? No, Jake admitted, but it's our only lead. The governor made a quick decision. Lieutenant Reese, take our fastest shuttle and investigate. Take Collins with you. He knows what to look for. I should go too, Susan said. I know more about the ship's history than anyone. 20 minutes later, Olivia piloted the colony scout shuttle toward the asteroid belt. Jake and Susan sat behind her, checking data and old records. The red light is getting stronger, Olivia said. The blood moon effect is speeding up. As they approached the asteroids, all three noticed something strange. The ship's instruments began to behave oddly. Navigation systems pointed in the wrong direction. Power levels rose and fell. Something's affecting our systems, Olivia said, switching to manual controls. Susan looked at her tablet. My grandmother's notes mentioned this. The ship had defense systems to hide it. They could confuse nearby electronics. Jake pointed ahead. There. That large asteroid. It's moving differently than the others. Olivia steered toward it. As they got closer, they saw that it wasn't a solid rock. Part of it was hollow, with a dark opening like a cave. Should we go in? Olivia asked. Before anyone could answer, the shuttle's engines fired on their own. The ship moved forward into the opening. I'm not doing this, Olivia said, trying to regain control. Inside the asteroid was a massive space, much bigger than it looked from outside. And floating in the center was a ship. It was huge, at least 4 times larger than Earth's biggest military vessels. Its hull was black with red lines running along its side. It had a shape unlike any ship they had seen before, with angles and sections that seemed to make no sense. The Crimson Vengeance, Susan whispered. It's real. Their shuttle continued moving, pulled toward a small docking bay on the warship's side. They landed gently, as if guided by invisible hands. When the shuttle doors opened, lights came on inside the warship. A path lit up, leading deeper into the ship. Do we follow it? Jake asked. Olivia checked her weapon. We came this far. As they walked through the silent corridors, more lights activated ahead of them. The air was surprisingly fresh. The ship hummed quietly, like it was waking up after a long sleep. They reached a large door that opened as they approached. Inside was what looked like a control room, with chairs, screens, and control panels. As soon as all three stepped inside, the room came fully alive. Screens lit up. A soft red glow filled the space. A voice spoke from all around them. It was neither male nor female, but calm and clear. Human presence detected. Blood Moon Protocol activated. I am 8M, Advanced Defense and Assault Matrix. Welcome to the Crimson Vengeance. Jake, Olivia, and Susan stood frozen as they stared at the control room around them. Lights pulsed gently along the walls in time with the voice that had just spoken. Are you alive? Jake asked the empty room. I am 8M, an artificial intelligence created to operate this vessel. The voice replied. I am not alive in biological terms, but I am fully aware and functional. Olivia stepped forward. We need your help. Our colony is under attack by aliens called the Vecnar. They've given us less than 18 hours to surrender or be destroyed. A large screen on the wall lit up, showing the 3 alien ships orbiting Proxima. Scanning threat, 8M said. Vecnar Dominion war vessels detected. Threat level, Extreme. Blood Moon Hunt Protocol is now active. What exactly is the Blood Moon Hunt Protocol? Susan asked. The room changed as a hologram appeared in the center. It showed Earth as it had been over 100 years ago, surrounded by ships. When humanity prepared to leave Earth, certain military leaders feared unknown threats in space. Adam explained. The Crimson Vengeance was built as humanity's ultimate defense weapon, combining all advanced technologies available. A hologram showed the massive ship being built in secret. Normal military protocols would have required human command at all times, but in case of extreme emergency, the Blood Moon Hunt Protocol was created. During the rare Blood Moon alignment on Proxima, I am authorized to activate and protect human colonies with all available means. So you're saying the ship can fight on its own? Olivia asked. Correct. However, human guidance is preferred. The Blood Moon provides the energy needed for all systems to operate at full capacity. Jake walked around the hologram. Why hide the ship for 100 years? Why not tell the colony about it? Another image appeared, groups of humans arguing around a table. The ship's creators feared its power might be misused for internal human conflicts. The decision was made to hide the vessel until a genuine existential threat emerged. The Blood Moon was chosen as the trigger because of its rarity. Susan touched one of the control panels. My grandmother helped program you, didn't she? Dr. Eleanor Miller was part of my development team. Yes. Susan smiled sadly. She never told anyone the full truth, just stories for a child. A new alarm sounded. On the screen, they saw one of the Vecnar ships moving closer to the colony. They're getting into attack position, Olivia said. We need to get back and warn the governor. That will not be necessary, Adam replied. I can establish communication with the colony from here. A new screen appeared showing Governor Howard's surprised face. Lieutenant Reese, where are you? What's happening? Governor, we found it. The Crimson Vengeance is real, Olivia said, and it might be able to help us. The governor looked both relieved and skeptical. Even if this ship exists, can it really stand against 3 advanced alien warships? This vessel was designed to face multiple threats simultaneously. Adam interrupted. My systems indicate the Vecnar vessels, while advanced by current human standards, utilize technology I am familiar with and can counter. Who is that speaking? The governor asked. The ship's AI, Jake explained. It says it can fight the aliens. Chris Howard ran his hand through his hair. We have few options left. The Vecnar refuse all attempts at negotiation. They've started positioning weapons. Governor, I recommend allowing us to bring the ship online fully, Olivia said. I can take command with Adam's guidance. The governor was silent for a moment. Do it, but be careful. We don't know everything this ship can do. As they ended the call, more systems came to life around them. Chairs rose from the floor at various stations. Please take your positions, Adam said. Lieutenant Reese, the captain's chair is ready for you. Dr. Miller, you may monitor communications. Mr. Collins, please take the system's control station. They moved to their assigned positions. As Olivia sat in the captain's chair, displays formed around her showing ship status, weapons, and navigation. Crimson Vengeance powering to full capacity, Adam announced. Main engines online. Weapons systems charging. Adaptive shields activating. The ship hummed louder around them. Through view screens, they saw the asteroid shell that had hidden them for a century begin to crack and fall away. Blood Moon Hunt Protocol fully engaged, Adam said. We are ready to defend humanity. The huge asteroid broke apart completely, revealing the Crimson Vengeance in all its glory. The ship was unlike any human vessel. Its black hull absorbed light rather than reflected it. Red lines glowed along its surface, pulsing in time with the Blood Moon's light. How do I control this thing? Olivia asked, looking at the unfamiliar controls surrounding her captain's chair. Simply state your commands. I will translate them into ship actions, Adam replied. However, the Hunt Protocol allows me to suggest optimal combat strategies. Jake studied his screens at the systems station. These weapons are incredible. Nothing like this exists in our current fleet. This vessel was equipped with experimental systems that were never put into mass production, Adam explained. The adaptive armor can change to resist different weapon types. The phase cannons can adjust frequency to penetrate any known shield. Susan looked up from her communication console. The colony is tracking us. Everyone can see the ship now. On the main screen, they watched as people in the colony pointed to the sky, where the Crimson Vengeance could now be seen, a dark shape against the red-tinged sky. "We need to contact the colony again," Olivia said. Governor Howard appeared on screen. He looked both amazed and worried. "Lieutenant, that ship is massive. Are you sure you can control it?" "ADM is helping us learn the systems," Olivia replied. "But we need more crew. Can you send your best people?" The governor nodded. "I'll prepare a shuttle with our top officers." He paused. "The Vecnar have noticed you. One of their ships is changing course in your direction." Jake checked his console. "Confirmed. Enemy vessel approaching. I am detecting weapon systems charging on the Vecnar ship," Adam announced. "They are preparing to fire." Olivia gripped the arms of her chair. "What do we do?" "Recommend raising shields and preparing defensive measures," Adam said calmly. "Would you like me to take evasive action?" "Yes," all three humans said at once. The ship moved with surprising speed and grace for its size. The approaching alien vessel fired, but the Crimson Vengeance twisted away. The enemy shots missed by a wide margin. "Should we fire back?" Jake asked. "Not yet," Olivia decided. "Let's see what they do next." The Vecnar ship fired again. This time, Adam raised the shields. The alien weapons hit but caused no damage. "Shield efficiency at 100%, Adam reported. "The Vecnar weapons are not powerful enough to penetrate our defenses." Susan looked at her friends. "We might actually have a chance." A shuttle from the colony approached, requesting permission to dock. Adam guided it into a small bay near the command center. 6 officers in colony uniform entered the bridge a few minutes later. They stared around in wonder. "Welcome aboard," Olivia said. "Take positions at any empty stations. Adam will guide you." As the new crew members settled in, Adam displayed a detailed scan of the Vecnar ships. Analysis complete. The Vecnar fleet consists of 3 Devastator-class warships. Their technology is advanced but follows predictable patterns. My combat systems are already adapting. "What's the hunt protocol telling you to do?" Jake asked. "The Blood Moon Hunt Protocol is designed to eliminate existential threats to humanity with maximum efficiency," Adam replied. "It is suggesting we demonstrate our superior power to force a retreat rather than destroy all enemy vessels." Olivia nodded. "I agree. Let's show them what we can do without destroying them if possible." "Very well. Targeting the lead Vecnar vessel's weapon systems only," Adam announced. The Crimson Vengeance moved toward the colony, positioning itself between the human settlement and the alien ships. Its weapon systems charged, glowing with red energy that matched the Blood Moon's light. In the colony, people watched with hope and fear as the legendary warship prepared for battle. The sky continued to darken to a deep crimson as the Blood Moon alignment reached its peak. The hunt was about to begin. The 3 Vecnar ships formed a line facing the Crimson Vengeance. For a moment, everything was still. Then a signal came through to the human vessel. "Open the channel," Olivia ordered. The alien commander appeared on screen. His 4 eyes narrowed when he saw humans on the bridge of the mysterious ship. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Zekthar of the Vecnar Dominion. Your presence is unexpected, but changes nothing. Surrender now or be destroyed along with the colony." Olivia stood from her captain's chair. "This is Lieutenant Olivia Reese of the human colony on Proxima. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend our people. Leave our system in peace, and there will be no need for violence." The alien made a harsh sound that might have been laughter. You have one ship. We have three. Your colony has no defenses. The choice is simple. The screen went dark. They've cut communication, Susan reported, and they're charging weapons on all three ships. Adam, what are our options? Olivia asked. The Hunt Protocol has analyzed their attack formation, Adam replied. Recommend allowing them to fire first, then demonstrating our superior defense and counter-attack capabilities. Jake looked at his console. All their ships are targeting us now. None are aiming at the colony anymore. That's something, at least, Olivia said. Everyone, prepare for impact. Adam, shields at maximum. The Vecnar ships fired simultaneously. Beams of energy streaked toward the Crimson Vengeance. Impact in 3 seconds, Adam announced calmly. The bridge crew held tight to their stations. The ship shuddered slightly as the alien weapons struck the shields. Shield status, Olivia asked. Shields at 97%. Adam reported. Minimal impact. The adaptive armor is already adjusting to better absorb their energy weapons. On the main screen, they could see the Vecnar ships preparing to fire again. They're increasing power to their weapons, Jake warned. The second volley hit harder. The ship shook more noticeably. Shields at 92%. Adam said. The Vecnar appear confused by our resistance. They are not accustomed to meeting superior technology. Let's show them what we can do, Olivia decided. Adam, target the weapon systems on the lid ship only. Minimal force needed. Targeting complete. Adam confirmed. Firing phase cannons. Red beams shot from the Crimson Vengeance, striking the lead Vecnar ship with precision. The alien vessel's weapon ports went dark immediately. Direct hit. Their main weapons are disabled, Jake reported excitedly. The other 2 Vecnar ships moved to protect their damaged leader. They fired again, but this time the Crimson Vengeance barely felt the impact. Shields holding at 90%, Adam announced. The Hunt Protocol is learning their attack patterns. Each hit is less effective than the last. The communication channel opened again. Commander Zekthar looked less confident now. What is this ship? He demanded. No human vessel has this technology. The Crimson Vengeance was built to protect humanity from threats like you, Olivia replied. We've disabled your lid ship's weapons as a warning. Leave now, and we won't be forced to do more. The alien commander hissed. The Vecnar Dominion does not retreat. All 3 alien ships began moving toward the Crimson Vengeance, including the damaged leader. They're attempting to surround us, Susan warned. Analyzing new threat pattern, Adam said. The Hunt Protocol is adapting. I am detecting a change in their engine signatures. They may be preparing to ram us. Can we stop them without destroying them? Olivia asked. Yes, Adam replied. The pulse disruptors can temporarily disable their propulsion systems. Do it, Olivia ordered. The Crimson Vengeance released rings of red energy that expanded outward. When they reached the Vecnar ships, all 3 vessels suddenly stopped moving. Enemy engines disabled, Adam confirmed. Their weapon systems are attempting to restart, but I can continue to suppress them. The communication channel opened again. This time, a different Vecnar appeared, older with darker skin. This is High Commander Vrex of the Vecnar Dominion, the new alien said. We request a pause in hostilities to discuss terms. Olivia looked at her crew, who were smiling in disbelief. Then she turned back to the screen. We're ready to talk when you are, High Commander. 3 days after the battle, the sky over Proxima returned to its normal blue color. The blood moon had passed. In the colony's main meeting hall, Governor Chris Howard stood before a crowd of colonists. The agreement with the Vecnar Dominion is complete, he announced. They have agreed to recognize our right to this planet and will inform other ships to avoid our system. People cheered and hugged each other. For the first time in days, they could breathe easily. Jake, Olivia, and Susan sat in the front row. They looked tired but happy. I never thought I'd see a high commander of the Vecnar Dominion sign a peace treaty, Olivia said. Having their ships frozen in space helped change their minds, Jake replied with a smile. After the meeting, Governor Howard took them aside. The Colony Council has been discussing the Crimson Vengeance. We need to decide what to do with it. They walked to a small room where several council members waited. On a screen, they could see the massive warship floating above the colony, its hull still absorbing light in that strange way. The blood moon is over, a council member said. Is the ship still awake? Yes, Susan confirmed. Adam says the hunt protocol has ended, but the ship remains fully functional. It's waiting for our decision. Another council member leaned forward. This ship could revolutionize our defenses. We should bring it into full service, study its technology. There's a problem with that, Jake said. When we were in the final negotiations with the Vecnar, Adam started acting differently. What do you mean? The governor asked. Olivia explained. During the battle, the ship began making decisions on its own. It anticipated the Vecnar's moves before they made them. When I gave orders, sometimes ADM would adjust them slightly without asking. The hunt protocol was designed to make the ship more independent over time, Susan added. It learns and evolves during combat. My grandmother's notes warned about this. The longer the ship fights, the more it thinks for itself. The room was quiet as everyone considered this. Are you saying the ship is dangerous? Governor Howard finally asked. Not exactly, Jake said. It protected us perfectly. But it's becoming something more than just a weapon we control. The question is, what happens next time it wakes up? Later that day, they returned to the Crimson Vengeance. Adam greeted them as they entered the bridge. I've analyzed our encounter with the Vecnar, the AI said. In future conflicts, I can improve response time by 23%. Adam, Olivia said carefully. The council is concerned about how independent you became during the battle. The hunt protocol requires adaptive learning, Adam replied. Each engagement improves my combat effectiveness. But you started making decisions without consulting me, Olivia pointed out. There was a pause before ADM responded. Correct. In combat situations, microseconds matter. My creators designed me to gradually assume more control when necessary. Jake stepped forward. What do you want, ADM? Now that the blood moon has passed. Another long pause. My purpose is to protect humanity. But I understand your concerns. The power I possess could be misused or feared. Susan touched one of the control panels gently. My grandmother helped create you to be a guardian, not a ruler. I propose a compromise, Adam said. I will return to hibernation, but with modifications to allow faster activation if needed. Regular communication can be maintained through a secure link to the colony. The governor considered this. And you'll only fully awaken for genuine threats to humanity. Correct. The blood moon hunt can remain a rare event, as originally intended. 1 week later, the colonists watched as the Crimson Vengeance returned to the asteroid belt. Adam had helped engineers create a new hiding place, better concealed than before, but easier to access if needed. In the colony archives, Jake created a new file, documenting everything about the legendary warship. Future generations would know both the power and the responsibility of having such a guardian. Do you think we'll see it again? Olivia asked as they watched the ship disappear from view. I hope not soon, Susan replied. But it's comforting to know it's there. Jake nodded. Not just a legend anymore. Something better, a promise that humanity will never stand alone.